Shalom. This week we begin the fourth book of the Torah, known in Hebrew as Bamidbar, which means in the wilderness. Many of the stories that occur in this book take place in the wilderness of Sinai. It's known in English as the Book of Numbers because right at the beginning of the book we see that Moses takes a census of the people. Let's take a look at what it says in the Hebrew and in the English. Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe b'midbar Sinai be'ohel moed be'achad lechodesh hasheni b'shana hashenit letzeitam me'eretz Mitzrayim lemor tz'u et rosh kol adat b'nei Yisrael למishpochotam לבית אבותם, במספר שמות כל זכר לגול גלותם, מבין 20 שנה ומעלה, כל יוצאי צבא בישראל, תפקדו אותם, לצבאותם אתה ואהרון. Hashem spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai in the tent of meeting on the first of the second month in the second year after their exodus from the land of Egypt, saying, Take a census of the entire assembly of the children of Israel according to their families, according to their fathers' households, by number of the names, every male according to their head count, from 20 years of age and up, everyone who goes out to the legion in Israel, you shall count them according to their legions, you and Aaron. The word in Hebrew that I want to draw your attention to this morning is the word mispar, which means number. I want to show you the root of the word number or to number, and I'm going to teach you a little bit of Hebrew grammar to show you how that word can be understood in the Hebrew. Let's take a look. The word mispar, that is the word number in Hebrew, is derived from the following Hebrew root, samach pei resh. Now, if you know a little Hebrew grammar, you know that a root, a Hebrew root, if it is pointed, that is, if it is assigned various different combinations of vowels, can change its meaning. So this root, samach pei resh, sometimes can be pronounced siper. And the word siper means to tell, to inform, to narrate, to tell a story, in other words, or in some cases, to cut. Now, we can take this root and pronounce it sapar to differentiate it from siper. Sapar has a different meaning. It means to count or to number. Now, when we think of taking a census, when we think of assigning people a number, we think of something, a process that's rather cold and impersonal. And in this very case, we see something like that going on. We see that Moses is told by God to count the number of men who are of draftable age, that is, men who might qualify to serve in the armed forces that will eventually conquer the land of Israel. There's a sense here of control, of organizing people, and it's rather impersonal. And we see that that process of taking a census, of counting people, happens off and on in the Bible. But the Midrash Rabbah has a different idea here of what it means to count. Let's take a look at how God counts the Jewish people. Come and see how great is the love of the Omnipresent for Israel. For the Holy One, blessed be He, has 4 times recorded the numbers of Israel in connection with the standards, twice in detail and twice in their sum total. In addition, He gave the numbers under each standard in their totals and in detail. All this to make known how much He loved them, for they were His hosts, and He was eager to number them ever so often, like a man who possesses a treasure for which he has an exceeding fondness, and which he counts again and again, an infinite number of times, in order that he may make sure of the number and find pleasure therein at each numbering. Thus did the Holy One, blessed be He, rejoice in recalling the number of Israel, as if to say, so many hosts I have in my universe who do my will, and through them He found consolation. What I'm taken with in this midrash is the fact that God seems to love every individual Israelite He counts. He counts each one over and over again. And to me, there's an implication not of control, but of love and treasuring the individual uniqueness of every person. In Jewish life these days, we have a lot of talk of Jewish demography. We talk about Jewish numbers. We worry about the intermarriage rate, and we have numbers for that. We speak of the affiliation rate, and we talk about numbering people in the collective. I think it's about time that we take that word, that Hebrew root, samach, pei, resh, which can mean to count, and to understand it in terms of telling one story. We must learn to encounter every Jew who comes into our community, who is involved in our community, who might be on the margins of our community, and to listen to their story, to allow them to be the unique individuals that they are, to share with us their Torah, their story, and to find a place for them within the community. Well, I hope that you will read this week's Torah portion and come to your own conclusion. Shabbat Shalom.
أبا شمعون كن بعوني لا دعيتك عينني أبا شمعون كن بعوني لا دعيتك عينني لا دعيتك نصب الليل عينني بالباكري لا دعيتك نصب الليل عينني بالباكري لا دعيتك